before we start, I would like to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, Edmund.
No problem. Yeah, I'm glad I get to talk to someone.
How's the quarantine there? It's been months, right? It's been weeks since you stay at home.
Yeah, it's been like slightly more than 1 month.
Oh, yeah, that's too bad. Okay, before we start the interview, I would like to congratulate you for the Spotlight specials on Mubi. Congratulations, Edmund. Because
thanks.
we can see your films on Mubi, and I was really glad I can watch your films there, Love Suicides and Aqerat.
Oh, yeah, it's been an honor. Mubi's been very nice to me. So, I'm very glad that, yeah, finally, like some Love Suicides was something I did like 12 years ago, and it's quite surreal that I'm sharing the film again with audiences, So, yeah, it's been a very strange experience.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to ask you the first question. What is the major reason that inspired you to make Aqerat? Do you personally find that the issue within Muslim Rohingyans, Rohingyan migrations in Malaysia or migrations in general intrigued you? Or you have any special reasons?
Yeah. I mean, personally, I've always been quite, before Aqerat, I've done a few like previous projects as a producer where I've been quite exposed to what's been happening with the migration. Like basically the Burmese, they have been coming to Malaysia for like for decades, like for a really long time. Like we had a lot of foreign immigrants, like I guess because of our geographical position. So and so a couple of years ago, like before I did Aqerat, like nearly 10 years ago, I produced a film by a Malaysian director called Wu Mingjin. So it's a film called Tiger Factory. So at the time we had a meeting with we got to meet up with the NGOs like of this Burmese NGOs like that were trying to protect the immigrants who arrived, like refugees, immigrants. So at that time, like 2010, like they brought me to some of the places that they were forced to stay, and so I already knew that due to the situation in Myanmar, like many of them they've already came to Malaysia, but they were forced to live in this very difficult condition. So, but of course, like in 2015, 2016, when the Rohingyan migrant crisis happened, when there's this violence that started happening against the Rohingyans, there were a huge number of them. The Rohingyans had always been in Malaysia, but at those 2 years, like more of them came to Malaysia. So I became more aware of what's going on. So personally, as a filmmaker, I always wanted to capture like stories of overlooked stories like of Malaysia, like things we always overlooked, because like basically the Rohingya issue is something that even normal Malaysians have they didn't really care, just to them, like foreign workers to them it's all the same, like it could be Burmese, it could be Indonesian, it could be Cambodian, like they never cared, so I thought like I wanted to make a film, like a small little film where I can educate, not really educate, but at least tell a story of what's really going on at that moment. So I was shooting the film right when the Rohingya crisis was happening, and it was quite. I was talking to my friends from like journalist friends and other NGO friends to to research, like what did they have to go through, like when they interviewed the refugees. I met some refugees when I made the film, because I wanted to make sure that I'm getting the details like correct. I didn't want to make a fictional thing where it's inaccurate. I did it in a really quick manner. Like I basically wrote the script around like October, and I was already shooting in December. So we only had like a 1 month pre-production. It was insane. But I thought that it was a story that we had to tell as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you can't wait anymore. So I'm very glad that my producers, my investors, we got to push through, and the film happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're basically saying also that migration is quite common. It's quite a common issue in Malaysia, and
Yep.
you also portray the life of Wheeling, a young woman who wanted to migrate to Taiwan, and then
Yep.
the other character from a city near Malay and Thai border wanted to move to Kuala Lumpur, and the one who lived in Kuala Lumpur wants to migrate to Singapore. Is it really that
Yeah.
common in
Yeah,
Malaysia?
it's really common, especially among Malaysian Chinese, like me. So like myself, my entire 20s, I was outside the country. I was in
Wow.
Australia, I was in
Yeah.
Japan. So I wasn't even in Malaysia that much. But the difference is that I did come back. Even though but it's very common. Like we grew up with parents telling us to leave the country for better opportunities. So it's very strange. Like we don't have this nationalistic, we must stay here for Malaysia, we must serve the country. Like growing up, what our grandparents, what our parents were telling us were more for a better chance, it's better for you to leave the country. Don't come back to Malaysia. After you go to university, find a way to stay in Australia, find a way to stay in Japan. Please don't come back. So I think it's very common, among non Malay Muslims, like minorities, Malaysian minorities, like me, the Malaysian Indians. So many of them, many of my classmates from high school or from primary school, I think more than half of them have decided to migrate. Some are in Australia, some are in America. Some in Bangkok. So it's kind of weird. For me, it's there are so many people coming to Malaysia, so many immigrants coming to Malaysia, but meanwhile the Malaysians are trying to leave the country. So it's always been this. I felt it's quite a contradiction. They are leaving, they are coming in. So what's going on?
Yeah. So it's really also related to the political situation in Malaysia, who favors so much the majority, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I somehow I can see that from your film because everyone wants to move. Basically also the Muslim Rohingyans wants to move because of the oppression from the majority in Myanmar, and also the Malaysians as well. And the non-Muslim Malaysians. And I want to ask the story behind choosing the title of Aqerat. I was confused when I see the title, but when I say Aqerat, it's a Malay word. It's also Indonesian word that comes from big, which means afterlife, and you also add the we the dead. But what is the story behind choosing that word Aqerat with Q and E, Aqerat?
Yeah, so the Aqerat that I used for the title is actually the Rohingyan spelling. So So it was quite a coincidence. I didn't even know we shared this similar word. So I was going through this Rohingyan dictionary to learn some words. So I saw online that's why A Aqerat. It sounds just like Aqerat. So it's the same source. It's the same Arabic word that became the title. So we decided to call the film Aqerat. Meanwhile, V the Date was more like an optional title that my sales agent came up with. She felt that some people might not be able to pronounce Aqerat, so why don't we try something? So she gave me a list of suggestions. I thought V the Date might be the most provocative. I think it was very visual, as a title, very relevant to the film V the Date. I'm like, yeah, let's go with V the Date.
And speaking of the language, I think I hear a lot of languages there, from Mandarin, Hokkien, from Cantonese, Malaysian, a bit of Thai. And how do you manage to supervise many of the language there. I mean, I know Malaysian has a lot of languages. At least one Malaysian can understand three language. Like, for example, maybe Mandarin or maybe Malay and English. And how do you to supervise that? Do you have any language supervisor on this set?
Yeah, actually, I mean, I know like Cantonese, I know Mandarin, I know some Malay. I mean, I know Malay, I know, but we were shooting at the border, like at like North Malaysia, you know. So actually, the truth is that the accent there is quite different from Kuala Lumpur. Like the truth is, I couldn't really understand like accent, like you know.
Yeah.
So they're like, you know, around Kuala Lumpur, because you don't understand what they're
But I
saying.
can understand some of the Malay though.
Yeah. I mean, yes, but some characters like they speak in a very I mean, maybe they did it for me, like they decided to use a more conventional Malay, you know. But the truth is, most of them spoke with a very heavy accent, and they are quite influenced by Thai, you know. So in fact, I think most of the people there, they can sort of speak Thai, you know. So they mix a bit of Thai, they mix a bit of so the dialect became very different from normal Malay. So our location manager and the production manager over there, they kind of had to be our language supervisor, especially we had the scene with the wayang kulit, the shadow cover play. Yeah. So I had to know like what was being performed, you know, because I didn't know what was going on and all this but the truth is normally for Malaysian film set, it's very interesting because like you hear like many different languages like flying around. Like when I talk to my DOP, Leslie, like we communicate in English. But with the main actress, Daphne, we always communicate in Cantonese. But with some other actresses, it's been Mandarin, you know. So you could see me like actually in like 2-3 sentences, I'm switching between like 3 or 4 different sentences.
Yeah.
It's like, hey Daphne, 得未啊? Hey guys, are you ready? You know, it's like, hey, 你们可以了吗? You know, so it's like all of a sudden I'm like speaking like 3-4 different dialects.
So it's normal to switch as fast like that, right?
Yeah. For us, it's our daily life, so it's very common. You know, it's just the northern dialect and the Thai, the mixture of Thai languages. That were the ones that I didn't understand. So that's when I needed the people there. So and Hokkien, actually, I don't really know Hokkien, but people in the north they speak more Hokkien than Cantonese. So in a way, so the Cantonese is actually only spoken among people from Kuala Lumpur and Ipoh. So the more central Malaysians, like more central cities, are the only ones that speak Cantonese. So normally for me, I know like, oh, you're not from Kuala Lumpur because you can't speak Cantonese. You know, it's something like that. So in a way, I was sort of hinting that Hui Ling's character is from Kuala Lumpur. Because like she was like calling her sister and they were communicating in like Cantonese. Yeah. So I think for some Malaysians they'll know like you know, it's probably a Kuala Lumpur girl in, you know, like the northern border, like because in the border most people only speak like Mandarin and Hokkien. So
yeah. I thought maybe Malaysians mostly use Hokkien as well, like in Singapore, because they use Hokkien language as well, I think.
No, it depends on your family, I think.
Sure.
And the city, yeah. So I think the north is more like Hokkien, but the south is more like Cantonese, and you know, the central is more like Cantonese.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of Tok Dalang, throughout the film, I think there's no music put in the scene aside from Tok Dalang stage. Maybe you have any specific reasons on why do you do that without any music? You want?
I did have a little bit of music, like maybe 1 or 2 pieces that only appeared in the middle and in the end, like this very experimental, avant-garde sort of sound. So the music was done from my usual composer, Wan Feng. So Wan Feng's like my high school friend. She's based in America. You know, but we had, yeah, so we have been making she had been doing the music for most of my films like in the past like 10 years, you know. So but we seldom meet because she's in America, like so we always do it like through online, you know, like she's sending me the files through Google Drive or whatever. And so Wan Feng, for us, the way we did the music, it's very experimental and spontaneous, just like the way we made the film. Like generally for her, it's more like watching the film and it's like, you know, I'm just gonna like try some stuff out. I'm gonna send it to you. You just decide where you want to put the music, you know. So she did a lot of like. So for me, I only had a couple of rules for her. Like I said, that maybe the film, I don't need that much music because I think I wanted it to be more like realistic. I didn't need music to manipulate the emotions, you know, like so maybe I just need like one or two pieces, you know, like maybe in the middle and in the end. And also because she was getting married during that time and I didn't want to disturb her.
Yeah. Oh, and talking about the censorship of the film, I mean, I found that some of the films, some of the scenes in Aqerat are very violent. Like, for example, torturing the fingers. Maybe the political situation are quite common there. I mean, I can see the political situation. Is it safe to be played in Malaysia, the film?
So the sad thing is the film was never shown in Malaysian cinema. So Mubi, this time in Mubi it's actually the first time that it's available for like the Malaysian public. We had a couple of like 2 or 3 like screenings at the Malaysian Film Festival like 2 years ago. We had some private screenings, but we never had it for public. But the strange thing is that we did pass censorship.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna die like that, you know. Like once we submitted it, we were like, you know. But we got back the report, and they only wanted us to cut 2 scenes.
And 2 scenes.
You can't even believe what scenes were they, like the kissing scenes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like, what? You mean the violence is okay? The political stuff is okay, but the kissing scenes are, no, the kissing is a bit too long, so
in the first part, right? Yeah.
And even the one in the end, like they're like, can you remove that? I'm like, no. Then can you please shorten it? I'm like, how short? 5 seconds. I'm like, oh God, you know. So it's like,
oh my God, yeah. I mean, it's really poor, and I mean, maybe some kissing scenes were intended to be romantic, but there I can see also some violent and, you know, oppressing kiss scenes. So with being cut, I think that would diminish the feeling of the scene.
Yeah, totally, man. Like, so the screening that we had in Malaysia like 2 years ago at the Malaysian International Film Festival, sadly it was the censored version, you know. So people were kind of like, oh, what is that, like a 5-second, you know? And,
oh my God, yeah. The situation is really similar to our country. Violence is okay, but long kissing scenes, big no.
Really? Oh man, so it's not just us. I thought we are the only ones with the, it kind of blows my mind. I don't understand, like, we had all this violent stuff, you know, like the torturing and like killing the, you know, but those are fine, you know, the guys are all like bloody and like covered in blood, and that's fine, you know, but
oh my God.
I'm going.
Unique. So moving from Aqerat to Love Suicides, maybe you could tell us more about Love Suicides. What inspired you to make a film based on a short story by Yasunari Kawabata with also the same title?
Yeah.
Love Suicide.
Okay. So Love Suicides was, I mean, I did it 12 years ago. So 2008. So that was just a few months after I moved to Tokyo for my studies. I was doing my master's there in Tokyo. So that was like, maybe during my time in Tokyo, I was really lonely. So I started reading a lot of Japanese literature in English. My Japanese is still not that good. So
kanji words,
I can read kanji, but I still need to read them in English.
Yeah.
I was reading a couple of Kawata Yasunari's short stories, especially he has this, do I have it with me now? Wonder, maybe not. Oh, I have it with me now. So I was reading this book.
Oh, you have the book, yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe it. It's right next to me. So it's sort of like a Bible. I carry with me all the time.
Yeah.
So this is a palm of the hand stories. It has a lot of his short stories. So some of the short stories are only like 2 or 3 pages long. So they're really short. But for me, it was really mind blowing because it's like the way the stories are so visual. Like they leave a lot for me to imagine. So I was thinking during I read this short story like No Suicides. I was like, wow, it's visually it's just stuck in my mind. So what if I try to do this maybe it's more like an artistic interpretation of the story. I can't even say it's an adaptation because it's kind of different in terms of it's not really it's a very loose adaptation. So but I wanted to do an interpretation from bringing this story back to Malaysia. So at the time I was going back to Malaysia for a summer break. So I brought in like a small crew and of people who work with me just before I went to Tokyo. So I did this other short film, my very first short film. It's called Chicken Rice History. It's a comedy. It's not on Mubi, and I think it's okay. but I got the same team back, especially Leslie, the DOP who later did Aqerat with me. So Leslie has been with me together for decades, man. I mean, it's not like a decade, but yeah. So it's like No Suicides is one of our early collaborations. His first as a DOP. My first short film was his first short film as a DOP. So this was my second one, and this was the second short film. So imagine it's 8 years later we did Aqerat together. So we had quite a long working relationship. But No Suicides was of course I came back to Malaysia. I'm gonna bring a small team together, to shoot this film. I'm bringing back the actress Kimi who played the mom. She was in my previous short film. Let's do something more serious. The previous one was a comedy. I wanted to do something with Kawata. So yeah, we just adapted and went to the Kuala Selangor, which is a more rural area in it's 1 hour away from Kuala Lumpur actually. But
Selangor, yeah.
Yeah. So we decided to do it's like a 2-day shoot. I can't. Yeah, it's quite fast. Maybe I can't even work that fast anymore. Getting old, but yeah. So we shot for 2 days and put the film together really quickly. I went back to Japan to continue my semester, and then I was editing the film while I was in Tokyo. So it's been somehow it was quite an interesting experience. I think it was quite important in helping me develop my style, my storytelling as a filmmaker. Somehow my professor in Tokyo, he really loved it. He was like, I can't believe that a Malaysian filmmaker like you could make a Yasunari Kawata story. The Kawata feeling seems to be quite authentic. So
because now I think when I see a flute or white shoes, I will definitely remember of Love Suicides.
Oh,
because that scene broke my heart so much, especially when playing flute. Oh my god! But it was really nice to see the films. Really.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, even for me, it's revisiting the short film like Love Suicide. It's I mean, it makes me feel very nostalgic. Generally, I don't like to look back at my previous projects because it's I just can't stand them. I always feel like I'll spot some mistakes. So generally, I don't really like to watch my own stuff after it's done. Maybe I'll I'll sit through the world premiere just to make sure like there's no disaster, Then once it's done, it's done. Like usually in film festivals or whatever, I don't sit through my own screening. I think maybe because I edit my own stuff, so I've seen them like so many times, like I don't really want to see them again.
Yeah. But that's really fun though. And maybe any information for your next projects, maybe after this?
Yeah. So I mean, for Mubi, the director spotlight is still ongoing. It's gonna happen till the end of May. So in a 3 or 4 more days, like my another short film called King Yeo will be coming out. That's probably one of my most popular short films. It was in Venice Film Festival back in 2009. I think it was very beloved. It was my first Japanese short film. I shot it in Japan, and it was fully a Japanese project. I mean, the only thing not Japanese about it was the director. Like that. It was also.
I can't wait to see that as well. I mean, I once heard that one of your projects are shot in different seasons. Like some scenes are in winter and then spring, summer, autumn.
Okay. Yeah. So that's my upcoming film, which I spent like 2 years shooting.
Wow.
Because I was waiting for the seasons, So this new film is called Malu. Shame. Malu. Yeah. So. Yeah. So I was shooting the film since end of 2017. So it was crazy. Like I was shooting the film while I was doing the post production for Aqerat. I was trying to keep myself busy. But I was waiting for the season, so I have to wait for winter. I was shooting the second half of the film in Japan. So I was waiting for winter in Hokkaido. I was waiting for autumn in Tokyo. So
as well.
It's very it's very. I mean, it's not a very big budget project, but it's been pretty time consuming. Waiting for the seasons. Yeah. So I mean, I spent the past year finalizing the post production. We had a very well-known Japanese composer. Sorry, I can't name him yet. But it's like.
I'm waiting for the surprise.
I think you'll be surprised. But he was very busy, so it took him a couple of months to finish up some of the music for me, and I myself I had to I usually do my post production in Bangkok. I really love usually I love the color grading and post production, especially in Bangkok. So that's where I do it. Actually, in was it January or February? Like 2 months ago. Yeah, that was when I finalized everything. So of course, hopefully, when the pandemic is over, when the world is sort of back to normal, I can premiere the film. So that's my next project. I'm supposed to be shooting another Japanese film in maybe end of the year or early next year, still not sure. It's also an adaptation of a Japanage novel. But that one is quite early. I just finished the first draft, so hopefully, it will happen soon.
Good luck for that, and I really can't wait to watch your films. Hopefully, it get premiered here as well, maybe.
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So my fellow in Indonesia can watch it as well, not only in Mubi, maybe in other platforms.
Yeah. I mean, many of my I think the Jogja Film Festival, Jogja Film Festival, they've been really nice to me. I think they have shown both of my feature length films. One of them. My very first feature length film, View of Exploding Durians. It's 2014. I think it will be coming out on a movie. Like that might be the end of the director's fortnight. Maybe end of the year.
So,
Yeah. So it might be quite interesting because there is a little bit of connection between both films. Like the Hui character is in both films. So you know, like, there is a bit of connection, and it's a very different film. Like generally for me as a filmmaker, I like trying different things, to tell a story, and so even though, like for example, Love Suicides and King Gyo, they are both like Yasunari Kawabata story adaptations, but they're done really differently. So I just like testing, trying new stuff.
yeah. I can't wait for that. And maybe for the next question, it's about aspiring filmmakers. There are a lot of aspiring young filmmakers in Southeast Asia, and including Malaysia, of course. If you want to share some insights to them, what do you want to tell them?
Let me see. It's always the trickiest. I always want to say, very just do it, but it sounds like a Nike advertisement, but I think for me, like normally my suggestion for aspiring filmmakers is to read more, books. I mean, I'm not the first to give such an advice. Akira Kurosawa, he gave the same advice like 30, 40 years ago. I think the reason is like what we do is a storytelling medium. So it's kind of hard to not be creative if you don't even like to read, I always suggest to them that, I'm sure like many of them, they love films, we all do, but I think for this extra spark, you kind of need to like to read. So that's one. Two, it's more like you have to be constantly curious about cinema. You can't just. The sad thing now is that we don't have. Maybe people are watching a lot of Netflix and the stuff we have in multiplexes. I mean, yeah, great. I love Marvel films. I love Netflix, but I think we have to be more curious to know what's going on. And I forgot to say, for example, Aqerat, another inspiration for me was Joko Anwar's film.
Yeah.
That was one of my main inspirations for Aqerat. I saw the way he made the film, was using the black magic pocket, and so I was watching the film by accident. I was like, oh my god, wow, you can make a film just like that. It's like the energy, So I sometimes you find inspiration from the most unexpected of places, and you just kind of have to constantly search, And I'm a little worried because as much as I like Marvel films, I think you kind of need to broaden your horizons. Sure, you can watch Avengers, or like me, I do go to Avengers on the first day of premiere or whatever, because I don't want spoilers on the Facebook. So I'm always the first person to go, but at the same time, you kind of have to mix it up. If you eat a lot of steak, you kind of have to mix it with ice cream, or you kind of have to eat rice and vegetables. I think it's like a balanced diet. So I think for film viewing, you kind of have to have a balanced film viewing habit. You kind of have to measure if you like Korean drama, that's great. Everyone's watching Korean dramas now on Netflix. Itaewon Class, Crash Landing Onto You. Everyone's watching that. The whole world's watching that. But that's good. But at the same time, wouldn't it be nice to discover other type of films that you wouldn't find anywhere else? For me, that's the fun part. Discovering things, on Mubi or on other places recommended by friends. Films that I would think of watching. So I'm not trying to promote Mubi too much, even though I think Mubi is really cool. The way that they've been introducing all these directors I've never heard of. I think it's very educational for me. So I think that's the way. Maybe it might help aspiring filmmakers to constantly expose themselves to different forms of cinema. Like otherwise, wow, if your worldview is so narrow, like how can you be creative? So
Ah, especially on Mubi, we can watch film from Malaysia, from Singapore, from Colombia, from many countries, very various
yeah.
and different time spans as well.
Mhm.
So it's really great. Yeah, I don't intend to promote Mubi, but yeah, it's a nice alternative other than Netflix to watch
Yeah.
films and maybe read short stories like you, for example, read Yasunari Kawabata's short stories to get more inspirations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just feel that like reading is quite important, as I think most of the directors I really love, like they all read a lot, like Scorsese, Wong Kar-wai, they're all like hardcore like readers, and if you don't even have the patience to read a book, like how would you even have the patience to read a script? It's like
Yeah. Especially maybe with the revisions, the never-ending revisions, and
yeah.
you have to read a lot. Yeah, that's very important to read a lot. Okay, so Edmund, how do you personally see Malaysian film industry at the moment? And do Malaysian people like to watch Malaysian films as well? Yeah, it's like, or maybe do they like to go to the cinema? Is it a part of a day of their daily life or not?
Okay, so the great news is
Yeah.
Malaysians do love to go to the cinema
Ah.
for Hollywood films.
Yeah.
So the crazy thing is that apparently in the last few years, I think we became like a top 20 market for Hollywood films. Like I think I was reading it on Deadline.com. Like I think we are like number 19 or number 18 or something like that. Because like generally Marvel films, superhero films, they do super well in Malaysia. Like Fast and Furious, we made like 100 million. Like the last Avengers film, we made like 100 million ringgit. So that's almost like 20-30 million US dollars. For a small country like ours, like, it's quite amazing. So yeah, people do go to cinemas quite a lot, but the setting is they rather prefer to just watch the Hollywood blockbusters. So we do have some maybe a couple of big local films, big hits, but not that many. And most of them are usually like horror films or action
Rom-coms
films.
maybe?
No, that's the strange thing. I don't think rom-coms are popular in Malaysia at all.
Yeah.
Maybe we are not romantic. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm a romantic guy, but I don't think people like to watch rom-coms here. So for the local films in terms of genre, horror comedies, that's like it's definitely like our most popular ones, like horror comedies, like cop, police action films, these are the ones like very testosterone charged and action packed.
Oh, that's new. I thought rom-coms are quite common to be watched there because when I type Malaysian film in Netflix, all the lists show rom-com films. So I thought maybe rom-coms are quite often there or famous there.
Not in the last 10 years, I think. So I think in the early like 2000s, like before 2010, yes, rom-coms were kind of popular. They were like a safe choice, like low budget, and you can make it for and there's a profit, So there were a lot of rom-coms, but like the rest of the world, like rom-coms started dying because like the production companies here, they rather focus on like the blockbuster, like the event films, like the franchise, So we kind of in a way have a similar thing that Hollywood has, where we, so. But it's kind of sad because it's like for Malaysian Chinese film, you can only aim to release the film during Chinese New Year for the film to do well, at the box office. So imagine like 20 films being made, like 20 Chinese films being made, and they were all aiming for Chinese New Year. But in the end, maybe only 5 or 6 films can get in to get the slot for the cinema, you know. So the other films, you know, they just disappear.
Yeah.
So
Ah.
yeah, I think that the argument now is more like for cinema they want to watch films that they can't see on TV or on Netflix. You know, so that's no reason for them to watch like a rom-coms. Like you can whatever you see in rom-com, you are going to see on a TV drama. You know, so why do they want to watch that? You know, so they would rather go for like action films.
Yeah, new information because in Indonesia, some of Chinese Indonesians, like for example Ernest Prakasa, made films not only published on Lunar New Year, and it still got a lot of success, big success. For example, Cek Toko Sebelah. It was about Chinese family in Indonesia who have warung or some kind of small shops. Yeah, and it's big, really big, and it's not on Lunar New Year, so that's very new, because because I thought that Chinese Malaysian also got some big place in Malaysian cinema, but apparently based on your story, it's not too much.
It's not too much.
Too bad.
Because the sad thing is also because like Malaysian Chinese, most of them are not that interested in watching their own films, you know. It's like because like we always had Hong Kong films, you know, from China, you know, especially Hong Kong films. Like so why would you want to watch a Malaysian Chinese film when you have Jackie Chan, you know, or like a Donnie Yen film, you know. So especially Donnie Yen. So we are sort of competing against like the Donnie Yens and the Jackie Chans, you know.
Okay.
So even Chinese, like we are not a strong market, like yeah.
Oh yeah. That's really a new information to me. Okay, thank you so much, Edmund. I think we can proceed to audience's questions now.
Sure.
Some of our audiences want to ask you some questions. From Albertus Julianto, he asked, how do you create your own treatment for each film?
Ooh. Okay.
Maybe.
The truth is, for me, it's kind of difficult to write a treatment because I'm a very improvisational sort of writer. So sometimes, like, I mean, that's the reason why I prefer to adapt something, you know, because at least that's a structure. I mean, like George R. R. Martin, he said that there are two types of writers. One is like an architect, you know, he already knows what's going on, you know, like, he already knows the structure, he just wants to write it out. Then there are some other writers who are like gardeners, so they start like planting the seed and they don't know what's going to come out. So I'm more like a gardener, like so I freestyle, you know. But I try to write a treatment as so it's sort of like an outline before I write my script. It's just it's always the first thing I do before I write a script. You know, it's more like drafting out my idea, you know, it's like a rough outline of my ideas before like jumping straight into a script.
At least you have some outlines as first foundation, right?
But the sad thing is I have this very bad habit, like I'm very impatient. So like once I've written like half of the treatment, I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna start writing the script now, you know. So the crazy thing, like for example, like a film like Aqerat, I can say that I was sort of shooting the film with a treatment instead of a script, because the script was only like 20, 30 pages long. So it was more like a treatment. It was really short. Like most of the dialogue was improvised.
Wow.
So that one is thanks to my cast. You know, they were incredible. Like they came out with their own lines.
Wow.
So aside from I like improvising. You know, I do have some bad habits. Like I don't really storyboard too because I feel that it limits my imagination. So and But I do say that like it's very difficult to write a treatment, but it's something that I force myself to do, like just so that it's easier for me to write the script, you know. And I'll be wasting less time. Like, it's just I need a while to organize it, you know. So sometimes I might write them all in like point form, like you know. Then I'll try to make it into a treatment before I write the script. But sometimes I might do it together, like I'll write the script, then I write the treatment. You know, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of freestyle, yeah.
I do freestyle quite a lot, like unless it's a different type of project, like it's I mean the ones that are being shown on Mubi now, they're all mostly my personal projects, so I have the freedom to do it like that. But of course I have done some commissioned projects, like done stuff with Apple, I've done stuff with you know like short films with Cow, Prada, all this stuff. Like of course I can't do that, you know. Music videos, no way I can just like freestyle. And I mean I tried and it didn't work, you know. So it was a horrible, it was a bad lesson. Like I'm like, oh, you know, what I did with films, I can't do it in a different medium. Like it's fair, you know. So it's a completely different thing. Like I have to be more. I don't like to storyboard, but I still have to like print screen like from other films or whatever, like to do like a mood board, you know, so that I can at least show like the cast and no, to show the team or show like our producers like what's going on. But with my own personal projects, yeah, you know, I can have a lot of freedom.
Mostly for personal project Edmund Yeo styles, right?
Yeah. So the funny thing is that I did many commission projects without using my real name. Too ashamed.
That's cool. And moving on to second question from Tantan. Are you planning to work together again with Daphne Low in your next films?
Yeah, of course. Like I mean, Daphne is great. You know, we have done like we were exploring durians. We have done Aqerat. So definitely, you know, aside from being a very good friend of mine after working so many times together, you know, she is one of the rare actresses who really understand what I need. You know, I have to say that like for Aqerat, for example, it's pretty much a creative collaboration between me and her. Like she wrote the poems that appeared in the film. Like she wrote the poems. Like you know, many scenes were her ideas. Like I mean. Of course, I'm the director. I could say yes or no, but there were some good ideas from her that I used. So I like working with Daphne because like, she cares a lot about her character and the project. You know, very emotionally invested. So I think it's more like I'm trying to wait for the right project. I mean, she's based in Taiwan. You know, so we kind of talk on Facebook, and you know, she's been. Messaging me the last few weeks, like wondering whether I've been writing anything like during the quarantine. I'm like, yeah, well, I'll try my best. But yeah, definitely, I it's one of those things where you know, when you have a good collaborator, you wish that you can keep on working with the same collaborators because like it's so fun to grow up together. You know, like I had Daphne, you know, I had Leslie. Another DOP I work with a lot is Kong Pahurat. It's a Thai DOP. So he shot like, you know, like River of Exploding Durians. He shot like Malu. I love working with the same people, you know, because it's they have this very family sort of atmosphere. Like so definitely yes, I want to work with Daphne again. I'm just trying to find the right project, or maybe wait for her to grow up a bit more. So that,
yeah, let's hope so. Okay, and then for the third question from Guzman Rifandi, which filmmaker inspired you the most?
Oh wow, this
so many.
long time, so many. Yeah. Okay, so of course, like I would say that growing up, usually the directors that you love the most are the ones that you discover when you're in your early 20s or late teens, you know. So of course I was very inspired by the works of Wong Kar-wai, Edward Young, you know, Paul Thomas Anderson. Like, you know, there are a lot like Tarkovsky, of course, Bellata. You know, sometimes I still revisit films by Godard. It's Kilowski. So I understand like half an hour throwing out names. But what I do is like usually before shooting a new project, I'll try to educate myself by finding a new influence. So it's like a different director. Maybe this time I want to try doing something that I don't want to say that I want to copy. I'm copying them, but it's more like finding inspiration and also educating myself. Like for example, like Aqerat. I was very inspired by, of course, I mentioned it was inspired by Joko Anwar's film. But stylistically, I was also looking at the films of Daphne brothers, and also So let's say it was Daphne brothers, so I would spend that amount of time like rewatching some of their films that I've watched before, or watch some of the films that I've never watched before. Just to it's like homework for myself. Like even before, like when I did Love Suicides, I remember I was watching like Alan Renee films, like last year in Marienbad and all this stuff, like some French new wave films, like for inspiration. So and even until recently, like Malu, like I was watching like Ingmar Bergman's films for inspiration, like because I was, for some weird reason, like I didn't see that many Ingmar Bergman films, so I wanted to use that opportunity to discover his works, like to learn, from So that's always a different influence during when I'm at a different stage of my life. But I would say that the ones that opened my eyes, like back then, were the ones that I discovered when I was a university student. Like Almodovar. I remember the first time I talked to her. I was in college. I was like, oh my god, this film is like, it was past midnight, so I popped in a DVD. I'm like, I'm gonna watch a film until I sleep. But I was so into it that when I finished it, it was like 6 a.m. The sun was rising. I was like, wow, what a beautiful feeling. Like, and the next day I was rewatching the film again. So those were the feelings that I cherish a lot. Like discovering these filmmakers that like doing this Kubrick marathon, Stanley Kubrick marathon. So I'm sort of a film nerd. I just like to do something like
diverse filmmakers, right? Diverse filmmaking style as well.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I think that was it. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and talking to us. Thank you so much, really.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Yeah, it's almost 1 hour. I didn't
really?
realize that.
Wow.
Really, thank you so much once again, Edmund. And I wish you all the best. Wish you good health and stay healthy.
You too. Stay safe.
Yeah, I can't wait to see your other films. Maybe Durian, right? Durian is going to screen on Mubi.
So Durians, I have four more short films that are going to be on Mubi. So King Gyo, Inhalation, Exhalation, Last Fragments.
Wow.
So they're all going to be part of the director spotlight.
Okay.
And really I can assure you that all these films, it's gonna be fun. Like, maybe we can chat again soon. About the other films.
Of course.
Since I have nowhere to go, I'm stuck in my house for more than a month already.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Edwin, I hope we can see each other soon, and stay healthy once again. And bye-bye, Edwin. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.